Hi everyone, I'm Isabel from Germany. I hope you're all doing fine in these quite challenging times. I'm developing digital entertainment products at ProSiebenSat.1, one of the leading media companies in Europe. We have a strong heritage in the broadcasting business, but to date own a strong portfolio of entertainment brands that are distributed on our TV channels, but also across all digital platforms. I came across voice as an innovation topic more than 1 year ago, and since then working on the voice strategy of ProSiebenSat.1 and its implementation. So as I was getting familiar with the voice topic, I was getting really excited because the topic is really revolutionary, and I tried out many different voice apps. However, when I talked to my family and friends, I noticed that a lot of people around me did not share my great enthusiasm yet. So beyond our very cool and intimate voice expert community, I heard things like, I only use Alexa for timers and maybe for music streaming. Or somebody else said, what are skills actually and where can I find them? Or even worse, I don't use Alexa anymore. So hearing that was a little bit frustrating because the current use case adoption was kind of stagnating from my personal view. And maybe you just felt the same in a lot of situations. So personally, I was feeling that some use cases just did not add value for me and also for others. So I dropped them after some time. Today, I want to make a call for next generation consumer-centric voice applications. With next generation, I mean broadly adopted use cases that go beyond the top current use cases of setting alarms, music streaming, and weather. This is a super relevant topic for the whole industry to make a leap forward. I'm going to talk about important questions related to that topic. First, what are current use case adoption patterns that we see out there beyond what we experience with our family and friends? Second, what are pitfalls and challenges in the development of voice apps that lead to these usage patterns? And third, thinking of a solution, how can a structured framework based on voice value add can help to build next generation consumer-centric voice applications? So let's start with the first question. What are current use case adoption patterns? First of all, we need to take a look at the supply side. What is out there? We saw a tremendous fast ramp up of the number of Alexa skills in the skill store, which is generally a positive trend for consumers, under the assumption that with more choice, there also comes more utility. However, only very few skills are used by the masses yet, as indicated by low number of ratings. For instance, 70% of skills have 0 ratings, and only 1% of skills have 100 or more ratings. Of course, there's no single cause for this. I see 3 factors contributing to this picture. First, difficulties in skill discovery lead to a long tail of skills that are simply not visible to consumers. Second, the rating process has been kind of bumpy due to the media break. And third, and for me the most important one, a lot of use cases are not relevant because they do not add value yet. So simply said, they do not solve a real problem for consumers in everyday lives. If we take a look at the top 10 monthly use cases in 2020 versus 2018, we see the core problems much more clearly. The top 7 use cases for voice remained exactly the same for 2020 to 2018, with music streaming, asking questions, and weather and timers at the top. So there are no new use case categories driving up. And second, the general monthly usage rate of these top use cases decreased or stagnated. For instance, weather, as a very important app, decreased by 6 percentage points, and game as a category dropped out of the top 10 completely. Last but not least, there was no significant increase of relevance in the category use a favorite skill or assistant app, which is also a major factor showing that these use cases do not add significant value to consumers' ad. So what do all these insights tell us? We need new consumer-centric voice apps to make a leap in use case adoption. Consumer-centric voice apps need to focus on what consumers really value. They need to anticipate current technology adoption patterns and usage patterns, because consumers obviously are not as far as we want them to be. For instance, smart screen penetration is still low at 10 to 15%. And last but not least, you have to see voice as a full-fledged new platform for voice-first products, and not seeing it as a marketing channel only. So if we look at the reasons for this, why is this so, and what are common pitfalls of companies that hindered a consumer-centric voice app development? Well, there are 5 different topics that we identified. First one is over-voicification. That means assuming that there is a value of voice for every service or product. Frankly said, for some products there is very little value of voice. For instance, travel booking portals being a very visual product where consumers do not book a vacation before actually seeing the hotel. That's a really good example where visual aids are very important and where voice could not add a significant value. Second point is actionism. Voice is a super important early stage trend topic. Therefore, many companies think we need to be in the game right now. But a good voice strategy and a differentiated approach for all the different use cases takes some time to evolve. Brand overestimation is also a major topic. Assuming that a brand will attract and retain a lot of users is a major pitfall. A strong brand can attract users in the first case, but the value add is driven mainly by the use case itself. Talking about short-term focus, it is very tempting to say, let's build a cool showcase on voice in almost no time and with little invest. However, top-notch voice products need continuous improvement and a long-term business rationale. Innovation dazzling. What do I mean with that? I mean, this is a very company-centered approach, assuming that with voice you can just show as a company how innovative you are. But actually there is no value delivered. If there is no value delivered to consumers, there will also be no value delivered back to the company. So summing it all up, based on our experiences, these pitfalls show the need for a more differentiated and focused approach for each company to develop voice value-added products. The question is how to develop actually such value-adding voice applications. Well, you all know the typical mantra of people saying, yeah, we know the value of voice. People choose voice when it's faster, when it's easier, when it feels more natural, or it's actually more fun, which is for entertainment especially interesting. But it isn't quite that simple. This is a very simple approach, but it did not help us a lot in deciding on how to proceed with all our different entertainment assets at ProSiebenSat.1. we have a very diverse portfolio of powerful entertainment brands that we broadcast on a large variety of channels. In some, we make up 2.5 billion revenues with our entertainment business. So there is no size that fits all. We needed a differentiated yet simple approach to help us focus on the most value-adding applications. In our target picture, we envision different solutions for our portfolio of use cases depending on their voice value add. Broadly speaking, a use case that will add significant value over voice requires a much more full-fledged solution on voice, and in turn demanding for a prioritization of resource allocations. More specifically, we created 4 categories of solutions from low to high voice value add for consumers. From just making the product searchable via voice, over using voice as part of the consumer journey, to expanding parts of the core product, and finally up to launching new voice-first products that would add the highest value on voice. The essential question you might have asked yourself by now is, how do I determine the voice value add and the best solution for a specific use case? Well, we developed a framework along structured questions to assess the voice value add. So I will guide you through our process here. In the first place, you have to be clear what use case you are addressing. This is the groundwork for all further decisions. No matter if it is a product that already exists, or if it is just a new product idea. As a second step, ask yourself who your core customers are. Have a clear picture in mind of their age, their gender, but even more importantly, their interests and attitudes. Then, as a next step, research. Research if these core consumers are actually familiar with or at least open to use voice. You can conduct a survey or take existing statistics of the user group to determine how big your actual addressable share would be. If you come to the conclusion that there is no critical mass using voice for this group, just make a clear decision that for now, it does not make sense to invest in a voice solution that user problem right now. If you come to the result that your consumers are definitely open to use voice, think about the core value of your product or use case. Can this core value be also delivered via voice? This could, for instance, be critical for highly complex products that need visual aids. So let's assume you come to the solution that the core value can be transferred into the voice space. We move to the upper branch of the slide to the question, is voice the best possible way to deliver this value? Because it's easier, faster, more natural, or more fun? If yes, go for a launch of a new full-fledged voice-first product. If not, think about a pragmatic way to move parts of your core product or use case to voice. So let's go back to the question of whether the core value of the product can be delivered via voice. Assume the answer is no. The next question is, if voice can at least solve other pain points along the customer journey. If yes, think about which parts exactly. For instance, customer service. If there are no pain points to solve, simply make the product searchable via voice. So there was a lot of theory on how a structured question approach helps to think consumer-centric. And now I will give you 2 brief examples of how we worked our way through these core questions. Let's take a look at Galileo. Galileo started as a TV knowledge magazine, but has evolved to an extremely strong content brand across all channels. The use case is centered around providing users with informative yet entertaining knowledge. Galileo has a very broad user base, but core fans are young to mid-aged mates. They have a high tech affinity and are, broadly speaking, open to use voice. The core value of the product, namely the transfer of knowledge, is transferable very well via voice. For instance, podcast formats are very well received, which is a proof point for this. But is it the best possible way to transmit that core value? Well, according to the brand identity, which is sehen, staunen und verstehen, that means in English, see, wonder, understand, the best possible way is still also linked to a visual experience. So as a result, an expansion of valuable parts of the core product to voice made most sense to us. Galileo launched an Alexa skill with 3 functions: a summary of topics in the next Galileo TV show, daily astonishing facts, and a phrasebook. And these 3 functions enhance the visual core product in a perfect value-adding way. Let's move to the second example. I would like to introduce you to Maxis Zeitreisen. This is a very special case for ProSiebenSat.1, as there was no existent product we've built on. We've created everything from scratch for this use case. So the idea that we envisioned was to create a fun and engaging experience for kids that they love, but that also leaves parents with a good conscience and gives them time to relax or get other important things done. We wanted to target kids between 4 to 7 years and, of course, stressed parents of all ages. Families showed a good adoption of voice, especially with Amazon Alexa, so we found the user base to be broad enough to invest in voice. Especially kids are extremely open and curious about new voice interfaces and show high engagement levels. So we asked ourselves if the core value of the product could be delivered via voice. And the answer was yes, definitely. And we went even further to find that voice is actually the best possible way to do so. But why is it the best way? Well, there were 2 factors that helped us convince us. First, voice is still largely an audio medium, and audio by nature is perceived as very valuable by parents, to the contrary to video. So audio is a good way to create a product that leaves parents with a good feeling. Second, audio entertainment can be interactive with voice, which is even better. Parents highly value interactive products because they associate interaction with learning and a positive development of their child. Based on this assessment, we came to the conclusion that it makes sense to launch a new voice-first product for this use case. So how did that product turn out? Well, we've launched a new interactive audio adventure for kids named Maxis Zeitreisen, which means in English time travels. We launched it on Alexa 1 year ago, but you might be asking yourself what makes this application so special. I've heard of so many other interactive audio experiences. Well, first, we unite 2 different functions in one application: stories and games. And both are equally popular, but feature different levels of interactivity. This is a proof point that different usage modes can coexist in one skill and can create a broad go-to point for interactive audio entertainment. Second, we introduced a reward system for kids. As Maxi's co-pilot, kids collect energy crystals in the time travel stories and the games. And once they collected enough crystals, they will be promoted in their status as a co-pilot. As a reward, experienced co-pilots can listen to secret stories of Maxi's personal logbook. Third, we feature an immense amount of high-quality content. The skill already comprises 8 time travel stories of 25 minutes each, plus 8 games with fresh content for hours of playtime. And all this content is recorded by a professional voice actress and is exclusively produced for this application, which makes it very unique compared to other applications. Last but not least, we provide a special feature for parents. After reaching a daily playtime limit, Maxi simply needs rest or has something important to do, and so guarantees a smooth exit without tears for our little ones. To get the product to life, we partnered with 169 Labs, the leading voice agency in Germany. Our success recipe for consumer-centric voice app development is quite simple. Integrate qualitative feedback from users in the development process, especially regarding content and interaction design. We conducted a lot of qualitative user tests to get feedback, for instance, regarding the product's name that had to be easily pronounceable by our little users, or regarding the level of interactions in our time travels. Furthermore, we've built up a very comprehensive analytics tool in order to track user behavior on each content level. For instance, we've got insights which games or time travels are working well, or if there are some interactions causing trouble in the time travels. For instance, because questions have been too difficult. In order to get this feedback very often, and it is best to release very often in small increments. So if you look at all the releases that we made, there were 12 major updates, including significant content enhancements over the last year. And we've made really an uncountable number of small improvements on a daily basis. So this shows that we really see this product as a sustainable voice-first product that needs significant invests to flourish, just like any other digital product too. Talking about numbers, we created a voice-first next-level use case that consumers love. In April 2020, we measured 60% returning customers. Each user had more than 7 sessions per month, and each user had more than 100 interactions per month. Transferring that to the usage time, it means that over 1 hour and 10 minutes were spent in the skill by each unique customer. This is a really, really great success and a major step forward to next generation use cases. So, what I want you to take away from my talk are 3 things. First, challenge your products for voice value add. Second, focus on few really promising voice-first products and take a differentiated approach on them. And third, integrate user feedback from the start and release often. So thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed my talk, so did I. I'm very happy to get in touch with you afterwards. Bye-bye.